Hey, it's Greg Stanley, and welcome to the Collector Car Podcast. I have a couple updates I need to get to real quick before we get to my interview with Shannon. She's a wonderful artist, so be sure to stay tuned for that. First off, I do want to hear from you. So most of you know I'm a car specialist consultant, worked with RM Sotheby's for years, do a ton of valuations. So if you ever want me to answer any of your questions, whether that's from a valuation perspective, just a particular car, I don't want to do what's my car worth because half the time you'll either be too excited because I overappraised it or you'll be upset because I underappraised it. You really have to see the cars in person in order to give an appropriate appraisal. So, but if you want to know some general market trends, have some questions about the market overall, if you have any questions about specific cars, that would be great. If there's an auction coming up and you'd like for my opinion on something that's being shown online, this part, the beginning part, I usually do this the week of, so for example, today's Wednesday. This podcast is going out tomorrow, Thursday. I'm going to the Barrett-Jackson auction on Friday. So it's pretty timely. Now, the second half, the actual interview, sometimes those are 1 to 4 weeks in the past. So happy to hear from you. You can reach me at Greg at the Collector Car Podcast with any questions. If you do not want me to mention your name, please say that in the email. Now, if you are on my newsletter, which comes out pretty much every Monday, you'll know that I said one of these has to go. And I threw up a fun game show image of my 65 Mustang convertible and the unrestored 66 Pontiac GTO. And many of you do not know this, and I've got a lot of questions, but I did sell the GTO, which is really crazy. So I'm going to do a nice, fun email about that. I cannot share where it went to, but it went to a great new owner, family that likes preservation cars. So I'm very thrilled with where it is ending up. But as far as an update, I am on the hunt for something cool. I am looking at a black on white M6 here shortly. That's in the lead right now because the other cars that I am chasing, the owners don't want to sell them. So there's only so much you can do, right? One other car I'm looking for is something that has a great story. So what made the GTO so much fun is sharing that story with the daughter of the original owners with their help on Jay Leno's Garage. So I'd love to find something else that is of that caliber, unrestored, original family. So if you know of anyone or a family maybe that has a car that has a wonderful story that they would like for me to try to share it to the best of my abilities, I cannot guarantee it'll be on Jay Leno's Garage by any stretch of the imagination. What I can guarantee is that I would share it through my channels, and I would try to get it on Jay's show if that's at all possible. Depends on how cool of a car it is, honestly. They get a lot of submissions, you can imagine, daily, so they're very picky as far as what they let on the show. All right, something new that I hope to launch next week. It's called Guess the Growl or Guess the Exhaust. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm going to have a fun game show for you guys and gals. I am going to have you listen to 5 or 6 different exhaust notes, and then you can guess. I'll give you 5 or 6 choices, and you can guess what they are, and then I will reveal them at the end of the podcast. So I did record 6 exhaust notes this last weekend. I questioned the Guess the Growl because some of them purred. They were not growling. They're not all V8 cars, which makes it fun. They're not all US cars either, which makes it fun. So I will give you 5 or 6 cars. I will give you 5 or 6 exhaust notes, and you have to put them together. And we will reveal those at the end of the episode. So that is not happening this week because it's a lot of editing, and I'm a one-man show. I do everything that you see here. All right, next, the book is doing tremendously well. You see I have it up on a couple little book stands. We finally figured out, hey, we should put these on book stands. Was at the Duesenberg Museum this last weekend for a launch event. That went tremendously well. They're great folks. And then went over to the Eyes on Design show. It wasn't a book launch event, but that was an incredible show as well. So I was able to meet a couple folks in person who contributed to the book. Tim McGrain, here's a nice picture of him. He was one of the judges. And then one of the participants and a frequent podcast listener, Myron Vernis. Hey, Myron, thank you for all your support. And it was great to see you in person as well. So where will I be next? Well, I am headed to Barrett-Jackson this Friday, which as you hear this is tomorrow in Columbus, Ohio. And then on Sunday, I head to the Ferrari National Meet up in Monticello, New York. So I will be judging 360 Modenas on Monday. And then after that, I have to take a look, but we will have a book launch event in California and LA at Auto Books, Aero Books. Tina set that up for me, which is absolutely fantastic. And then I will be at Keeneland Concord Elegance at the Hangar Party, as well as the actual Concord event. We'll just have like 30 minutes or an hour in which I will be available to personalize books. So if you're going to any of those, please look me up. And then also I am on a few podcasts here. So you'll be seeing me out there a little bit more, not just on this podcast, but on some other podcasts. I have a call with Matt, the moderator, here in 28 minutes for interview for that podcast, and I will share all that on a future episode. So as always, thanks for listening and thanks for watching, and please support my sponsors. You'll hear their commercials here in a moment. And if you would like to explore sponsorship of the podcast or the book or the new book, The Enthusiast Guide to Porsche, coming out in October, please shoot me a note, Greg at thecollectorcarpodcast.com, and we will catch up with Shannon here in just a moment. If you're a collector, you already understand stewardship, preserving what matters, planning ahead, and passing things on the right way. That's exactly how Peristyle Wealth approaches financial planning. As the Ferrari Club of America's official wealth management partner, they help avid collectors who value resilience and attention to detail. And the founder, John Suarez, is active in the community. I've judged one of his cars before, and I see him at events all over the country. To learn more, go to peristylewealth.com. Peristyle Wealth advisory services offered through New Edge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
Every garage is a mirror of the mind that builds it. The garage becomes a quiet dialogue between who you are and what you craft. A garage is where work becomes meditation and solace, where mechanical truth becomes mental clarity. Some people go to offices, some go to mountains, others go to garages. At Metron Garage, we build for people who do all three. Give us a call to get started.
If you own a collector car, you already know it deserves more than a standard insurance policy. NCM Insurance specializes in agreed value coverage designed specifically for classic, collector, and enthusiast vehicles. From weekend drivers to serious collectors, they understand how these cars are used, stored, and protected. To learn more about protecting your collector car the right way, visit ncminsurance.com. Coverage built for the cars you care about. Every car in your garage tells a story, where it's been, how it's been maintained, and what makes it truly yours. Carport gives you a simple digital garage to document, organize, and manage your vehicles all in one place. Track service history, store important records, and keep your collection dialed in with confidence. From your daily driver to your dream car, Carport keeps everything in order so you're always ready for the road. And best of all, it's free to use and is 100% private. To learn more, go to carport.app. All right, welcome to the Collector Car Podcast. I'm excited because, as most of you know, if you've listened to this podcast before, I am a failed artist. So anytime I get to interview real artists, I really appreciate the work they do. So I'd like to welcome Shannon Fannin. How you doing, Shannon?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being on the podcast. Now, we met, I believe, strictly through LinkedIn, even though before I started recording, we talked about we're probably at the same shows and I was admiring your paintings, never knowing that I would eventually interview you, or else I would have said hello. So hello.
Oh, hello. How you doing?
Good. Now, where are you based out of?
Austin, Texas. So I am probably about 40-minute drive from the Circuit of America's F1 track.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you're listening to audio only, Shannon's in her art gallery with all sorts of wonderful pieces of artwork behind her. Very picturesque. So if you would, tell us a little bit about what you do, what kind of artwork is it, maybe some of the mediums, and where we can find you off the bat. Usually I ask that at the end. I'm like, I need to ask that at the beginning. So.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I am a realist vehicle artist. I paint with highest quality acrylics, and I paint with my fingers, palms, and brushes. I consider myself probably 90% abstract, or 90% realist and 10% abstract. Like I said, with the painting with my fingers, I love doing abstract areas with my fingers. So kind of blows people's minds when I say that I paint with my fingers. So
yeah, no, that is incredible. And your artwork is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
So when I was struggling to become a comic book artist, I actually had a mentor who was a painter. His name's Brian Stelfreeze, and he did like Batman for years and stuff. And one comment that stuck with me, and I'll never forget it, he said, if it gets the desired effect I want, I will use oatmeal. Like, he didn't care what the medium was. It just, what I want from a visual perspective. Is that kind of how you work as well?
Absolutely. Well, before I was an artist, I was a corporate marketing director, homeschooled my kiddo for 16 years, and he started college early. And I had a mural business for a little while. So I like to paint large, and I kind of smeared paint and things like that on the walls. And that just kind of transferred. I took a couple of classes at a community college and had some amazing teachers, and they said, keep going. So, and then we'll get to the story of how I got into this, but I love what I do. I love getting messy. And so, yeah, it's a fun job.
Well, it's interesting. I always find the murals fascinating, and it seems like there's more and more popping up in small towns that are trying to rejuvenate themselves. And
Oh, yeah.
one of the easiest ways is to make the town look beautiful with these incredible murals.
Yeah.
And I was always super intimidated because I always thought, oh, I could do that, you know? And I'm like, that's to me, that's really intimidating. Now, when you do a mural,
Mhm.
is that grid artwork? Like, do you
Yeah.
project a grid, and is that how you do it?
Yeah, that is how you do it. I also, when I'm painting, and I'll show you right here. So I've got four paintings I'm working on right now, but this is a tablet that I use, and then I will zoom in on my photos. That helps a lot too. But if I'm doing a large piece, definitely grid it out. And that helps. And I also will turn my image and I'll turn my canvas as I'm painting. So I always tell folks that I try to paint what I see, not what I think I see.
So that might be
Especially
where you turn the image upside down
Yes,
so
yes,
that you're
especially
you're making sure this line ends up at this spot. Let's say if it's in a grid and you're looking at a square versus oh this bumper curves this way. You're taking
right,
your opinion out of it, right?
right. Well, and I consider vehicles, whatever I'm painting, a portrait, and especially when it comes to things that are circular, like headlights or wheels, tires. When you photograph them, most of the time they're not circular. You're maybe at an angle, and so it's an ellipse. And so when I flip my image and I flip my canvas, I focus on that. My husband and I both work from home, and he'll come in at the end of the day and go, you rounded that tire. Like, and so that's why I try to make sure that I really focus on the shape, and I try to take a photo every day after I'm done in the studio, and I'll look at it at night and go, that bumper's wrong, or that reflection doesn't look quite right, or whatever. And I will the next morning change it and keep going with that. I really try to that really helps too when I usually get about three-fourths of the way done with a piece. It stops being fun and it starts being work.
Hmm.
And that's when you have to bring in, maybe the decals or areas that you really want to punch. And that's sometimes that's difficult. And so that's why I usually work on 3 to 4 paintings at one time, so that if I get to a point where I'm incredibly frustrated and I want to set it on fire, I will put it away for a while and jump to another piece. And I usually make notes of what colors I'm using, so that way I don't lose track. So
Yeah, I find it very fascinating, and I do want to ask you some specific questions about paintings and little techniques from a broad stroke.
yeah.
Uh, Pun not intended, but tell us, how did you go from marketing to car art? And have you always been a car enthusiast, or like walk us down that path?
I have not always been a car enthusiast. I grew up with a father who loves the land yacht Cadillacs.
Mm.
And I was not into vehicles at all. My dad just, kept on going, then, got something else. And when I got married, my husband was really into vehicles. He was the president of the Land Rover Club here in Austin, did a lot of off-roading and things. And when our kiddo started college, we became empty nesters. I took a few community college classes, not sure what I wanted to do. I was 45, so I had already done a lot of the things in life, and I was taking some classes, absolutely loved it. And my husband got a 1961 Ford Thunderbird convertible.
Mm,
We still have her. Her name is Maybelline.
Maybelline.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she's cherry red, black cherry. She's beautiful. And so we started going to car shows, and my husband challenged me. He said, "Hey, actually, I brought it with me because it's in
Oh, good.
our
We
dining room."
like.
So this is the first painting I've ever done with vehicles. I don't know
Oh
if you
my
can see.
goodness,
I don't know if you can see this. So
it looks amazing.
thank you. So I didn't know anything about this. So my husband, we went to a car show, and I met the people, and that was the thing that drew me in, was the folks that I met and the stories that I heard. And my husband said, "Hey, why don't you try to paint a car?" And I thought, "There's just no way. That's just too hard." And I tried, and that that
Well,
became
you
what
jumped
I
right in
did.
there with a chrome grill from what, a 50s
Yeah,
Chevy
yeah. Well,
pickup truck?
yeah, and it's funny because I've always loved art, but I got a scholarship to be a special needs drawing teacher, got married, and didn't even finish one semester of college. But I love reflections or something about reflections, and then when I heard stories about vehicles and the passion that people have at these events, yeah, so it kind of all just came together. So that was in the fall of 2014. And in February 2015, I thought, this is what I want to be when I grow up. So here I am.
Wow, that's amazing. Because when I look on your website, you're not drawn to one particular genre. I mean, I'm looking at, rally racers to a Martini 911 with a ducktail to a Gulf Oil 4GT to an old patinaed pickup truck to a GTR, the original Hakosuka,
Yeah.
to a McLaren F1. Like, I love your diversity. F1. I love the diversity in what you're painting. How do you pick? Is it commission based or is it passion based or is it a little bit of both? Like you paint
It,
what you
it
want and you see if someone wants to buy it?
yeah, it's a little bit of both. I will say we'll go to an event. A lot of times we'll go to an event and something really speaks to me. It might be, of course, meeting the owner, but then it might be something like a reflection, the way clouds look, just something, the style. Some vehicles are just so sexy. Some vehicles have just timeless looks to them. And so something will really speak to me. Then it'll also be I'll need to do something and I don't know what to do. And so I'll go in and we have thousands of vehicle photographs that we've taken over the years. And we try to travel and take lots of photos. And so something will speak to me and I'll go, oh, and then usually I will crop it in Photoshop. I don't usually do the entire vehicle. I will sometimes,
Hmm.
but I try to capture maybe an area that I find particularly amazing, or the design or reflection, color, things like that. It really speaks to me. But I also do commissions, are an honor. I almost look at our vehicles as family members. So
Oh, wow. Yeah,
yeah.
that's really cool. Now, so I'm thinking from a technique perspective, which is easier to paint? Because I have my own opinion.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Rust, chrome, or glass reflection?
For me, I love Chrome. There's
Oh,
just
you
something,
do?
I
Okay.
love that crazy chaos that you see. The funny thing is I have a lot of folks who have asked me over these last 11 years, how do you do what you do? And I will tell people I started off drawing eyeballs. Then I went to glass, water, and then mirror, and Chrome is mirror,
Hmm.
and everything around it is very distorted. I mean, we all know what like a tree looks like or a building or whatever, but when I'm painting them in chrome or reflections in glass, it all has to be distorted. And because if I draw a building the way our brain knows, you're going to know that's wrong because it's not going to
Hmm.
bend the way it should be, in the reflections of the car or the chrome or whatever. So, yeah, it's fun. I love that craziness.
Yeah, like I'm looking at the Queen's Ascent Pikes Peak
Ah,
1985 Audi Sport Quattro, and I just
yeah,
find like the reflections in the windshield because it's a clear piece of glass.
yeah,
So you're trying to paint a clear piece of glass,
yeah.
but you're capturing that by painting some of the interior, but also the stuff that's reflecting in the glass. I mean, that's
Right.
got to be really difficult, right? I mean,
It is, but I paint. I when I'm doing paintings, I usually do glazes. So I do layers. I'll
mm,
probably do, I don't know, 20, 30 layers. And the one thing with glass, we all know what an interior of a vehicle looks like, so I kind of have to give a hint. But then, depending on the light outside the windshield, you might see a reflection of a tree. There was a 2002 BMW that I did that I absolutely adored, the crazy craggly looking branches that were in the reflection. So you can just see a tiny hint of the seat on the inside,
right.
but you'll see mostly the reflection of the tree in the glass. So that's real fun.
Wow. All right. So since you've drawn a little bit of everything, painting,
Yeah.
what has are you gravitated towards a particular brand of car, old car, new car, 70s, 80s, exotic, muscle car, European? Like, have you gravitated towards something in particular?
I've actually painted quite a few Ferraris. I have to admit, I have a bit of a soft spot for Ferraris and vintage Alfa Romeos. I love 2002 BMWs. I just there's so many vehicles. I have so many people. Have you painted this? Have you done this? Like there's so many.
Yeah,
Give me time.
yeah.
I really do love vintage vehicles, but being here in Austin, I'm a big F1 fan. Um, I want to do more muscle cars. I want to do more F1 cars. I think I'm going to do a series, some F1 vehicles, Indy cars, things that I really need to, I need to branch out. I'm always trying to branch out and do more. Um, yeah, I part of it too is getting out and photographing. I really try to either myself or my husband will take photos of our vehicles. I don't want to use someone else's images, and so I have worked with photographers before for my actually for my Mercedes AMG red pick. I had someone on Reddit fall in love with my work, and hey, I went to the museum. Let's do this, let's barter, and so we did. But yeah, I there's just so many vehicles, but I have to say I have a thing for classics, probably because we have our 61.
Okay, yeah,
It's probably a bit of it, but
yeah.
there's something. Well, and I will say, painting classics is easier for me than painting hypercar, supercar. If you think about it, they don't really have chrome,
I was going to
and so
say Chrome is huge. Yeah.
yeah, and so they got the carbon fiber, and they've got and that's all shape and shadow. Whereas, which I mean, if you really think about it, I'm trying to be a magician. I'm taking a 2D uh, surface and I'm trying to trick your brain into thinking it's 3D.
Hmm.
That's challenging. That's challenging. And so when I do supercars, hypercars, racing, I have to do a lot more of the layering to give the effect of depth and shape and shadow. So
Yeah, I want to bring the Chrome back. I've never been a fan of like blacked out trim. I mean, I'm growing, yeah, a little more
yeah.
accustomed to it now, but I've always liked the Chrome
I
myself.
know. I have
Yeah.
something for it. Yeah, yeah. But a lot of my collectors, they own the supercars and
Yes.
the racing vehicles. Like I said, here with Circuit, we have a lot of folks who, they'll put their vehicles in their garages there at the circuit or outside the circuit, and they're always racing. But a lot of supercars. We have a huge supercar group here in Austin.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, how did you transition from like your traditional brushes to your fingers and hands?
Well,
How did
so
that come about?
I know. So when I was taking some community college art classes, I took three classes of life drawing where you're drawing nudes,
Hmm.
and I was actually drawing people abstractly, and I was using soft pastels and smearing. I love that, and
Hmm.
so I think that kind of transition and that working with murals and larger than life images, and then also using the pastels and smearing. I've always been a messy person. So I made mud pies as a kid. So
Now
so
you do it for
now
fun, for
yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. So I will wear either overalls or wear hospital scrubs, and it's like pajamas, and I get real messy. I love it. I love it.
So I've always loved, I like to do charcoal drawing, and
Oh
part of
yeah.
that is smearing and smudging. But I hated it the next day because you're sneezing, up black stuff because you inhale the charcoal. I mean, there's
Yeah.
just what
Yeah.
happens. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. So when like you want to do a piece of artwork, because everything's pretty much, I mean, mostly like you said, you don't do full on shots. You
Yep.
did the A-Team van full on shot, but
Yeah. Yeah.
how do you pick the detail? Do you like walk around the car until you see exactly the angle that you're looking for?
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty much it. That 18 van was a commission. And that one was really fun. With that, I wasn't able to go and photograph it myself. So my collector sent me, I think it was like 10 photos. And then we talked about, what's a good angle, and they love that. And I incorporated some graffiti on a wall in the back with the family initials for the
Oh,
kids in
that's
the
cool.
van.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
so that was real fun.
was that the actual A-Team van or was it one they custom built?
No,
Okay.
no. M4 Restorations in San Antonio, the gentleman who owns it is a friend of ours, and his wife is a surprise, commissioned that, and that was he. Sometimes will take. He's did that. He did the wagon from Christmas. Was it? What was it called? The one
The
with Chevy
Christmas
Chase.
story?
Yeah, no, not Christmas Story. The Christmas Vacation.
Oh,
Those,
yeah, National
yeah.
Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
did that. He did that. He just last year finished the Dumb and Dumber
Oh, yeah, the big
puppy.
dog. Yeah,
So fun, so fun. And so he brings those to events, Radwood and things like that. And yeah, so that was one that he did. And I think he sold that since then to a collector. But yeah, that's a piece of art. To me, vehicles are rolling pieces of art. And so he takes it up a notch.
yeah, yeah. Well, anyone who's listened to my podcast for a long time knows I don't have a ton of representation from women. Part of that's because it's the automotive world we're in.
Yeah.
Have you had any like advice for someone who would like to get into the industry that maybe has a non-traditional career path such as yours?
Yeah, for me, I'd say so. I've been doing this 11 years now. It probably took me about 5 years before people realize I'm not a groupie. I'm not there just to have my picture taken with an amazing Lamborghini or whatever. I'm here to photograph, and I'm really passionate about. And I think that is probably it. Get in, go to places and go to events where you're going to see what you're going to be creating from, and get to know the owners. I'm constantly learning about vehicles. I'm at a point now where I'll see something drive down the street and I'll say, that's a, whatever. My husband will go, well, you're close, but,
Yeah.
or is that this year and whatever. And so I'm constantly learning about that. There's so much. My problem is I will fall in love with the vehicle for whatever reason, the owner, just because I love the look of it or whatever. And then I will create it and someone will look at it and go, oh, this engine is this and this and this. Did you know that? Or they'll ask me about the designer of the vehicle. And to me, I tried to honor whatever that vehicle was by bringing it to life on canvas. I don't usually know the background. During the pandemic, though, we did have some time where I did a YouTube channel where I would talk about one of my paintings and the vehicle that inspired it. And it was great because I had all this extra time. Everybody had time on their hands. And so I was doing research. Like I've learned the Royal Enfield
Mm.
motorcycle used to be, dropped to the troops. That's so cool, And
Right.
so I
Yeah.
learned about the de Havilland Beaver airplane, how, it's a plane that goes out into the middle of nowhere and brings food and medicine, things like that. So I learned a lot about it. And I wish I could do that with all of my vehicles. Sometimes the owners will tell me, which is great because they're always so
Right.
passionate.
Yeah.
And why did you buy this vehicle? And like, oh, my dad and I, we built this engine, or this was my first vehicle, or whatever. I had a poster on the wall of that F40, and now I can have one. So yeah, I
Yeah. Yeah. Was there one particular painting where, whether it was a comment from a client or at a car show, that you felt like it was like a turning point in your career? Like, all right, this isn't just a hobby now. This is my new career.
Yeah, actually, there is. So it would be I did a 4 foot painting of a 1951 Chevy truck that I had seen at a car show. Loved the grill. That's actually one of my dream cars. I don't know why. It's just it looks like it's smiling. And I had someone from Austin Bergstrom International Airport say I could put it in the airport, which was wonderful. They
Wow.
do that. They do that for artists here, and so I had done that the very beginning of 2016. Had it at the airport, and someone called me and said, "I saw your painting at the airport. We are doing an auction at Amelia Island. We want to bring you and all of your art." I had like, oh gosh, it had been about 8 paintings with me. They all expenses paid, brought me out there. And I had an art show while they were doing this auction, live auction. And during that event, I had a gentleman who was being awarded his 19, I believe it was a 1961, I want to say, Lamborghini Miura. They were, Amelia Island was, they were giving awards out and special presentation for Lamborghini during
Mm.
that time. They had all the colors, bright orange and fluorescent green and just so beautiful. And a gentleman came to my show and he had the green Mura and he said, I want you to do a painting.
No.
Took out a bunch of money and handed me cash and there you go. And it was that moment where I thought, this is surreal. This is surreal. Because at that point, up until then, I had friends that I had a relative that even said, she says, women paint flowers and children and landscapes. Why do you want to do that? That's, and I would show my portfolio and it's like, not my thing. And to me, it's exciting. They're exciting. There's so much passion about vehicles. And so at that point, when being asked to go out and have a solo show during Amelia Island in 2016, and having a gentleman that was being awarded by Lamborghini and Amelia Island to just say right then and there, I want you to, do commission of my Lamborghini. I thought, okay, I guess this is it.
Yeah,
This is
you're
what I want
like,
to be.
all right.
Yeah, this is it. So yeah, I was very fortunate to have my work in the airport. And the funny thing is, real quick, as a turnaround, 10 years later, yeah, 10 years later, I just got a uh, commission for the airport again. They're building a new arm of the airport, and I
No.
got two big walls. So you're going to see my work there in 2030. So.
Now, is that a mural?
No, they're not going to allow us to do murals. What since I'm a 2D artist, they're wanting us to kind of incorporate a 3D aspect.
Hmm.
So I'll probably find a company that to take my work. I'll be doing probably paintings, have them scanned, and we'll probably put it into glass or tile, something that they want it to last at least 25 years. So
Wow.
not
Yeah.
yeah. So well, not to say my paintings don't last that long anyway, but little guys, rubbing their hands on
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
and banging things with suitcases and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. So I feel it's like
That's,
full circle.
yeah, that's very exciting, especially getting into like a international airport, I would assume, is Austin. So
It is.
now I got to ask you, because I asked you earlier and I forgot to follow up, but what is the website where we can learn more and see your wonderful pieces of artwork?
Oh yeah, it's shanfannin.com. So
Shan Fannin. It'll be in
yeah,
the description as always.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, you mentioned you were working on, I think you said four different pieces right now.
Yeah.
Is there one that's really got you excited you could share a little bit about?
Well, I'm doing Ferrari from the I don't know what the vehicle which one it was, but what I loved about it had just rained, so there's gonna
Hmm.
be water droplets. So there'll be a little cussing while I'm painting it.
All those
Uh,
water droplets.
I've got a Z28. I've got the back of a Corvette, and then I'm also working on something silly. I just finished two 4-foot paintings, one's right there actually, of pedal cars. Actually, I
Oh,
don't know
I
if
saw
you.
that on your website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see. Can you see
I see
over
a
there as well?
kid's tricycle.
Yeah. Oh no, no, no. I don't know if you can see on the wall. Hold on a
Oh,
second.
I can see it over there. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So I just did two. Oh, I gotta fix my camera. Yeah. So I just did two of those. So I'm doing a tricycle, which I just got out of what we call blocked in stage. So now all the colors kind of laid down, and now I start doing layers and layers and layers. So I'm doing that. Yeah, and then I also have a let's see, a Porsche 356, I think I need to do. And I'm also doing a very large um, Ferrari prancing horse for an F1 event in October. Yeah. So, and I can't really say, but there's a race car driver that I will probably be flying out to photograph one of his vintage
oh, race
vehicles.
car.
So,
Uh-oh, something
yeah,
secret going on here.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's a couple of things. It's funny. I have all these things on the horizon. I got asked about two solos next year, and I thought, okay, I got a plan. And so I've got all these things coming up. And so with the airport thing, I've never worked with a organization where you work with a city or a government agency, and
Hmm.
I never realized that it's wait, okay, hurry up, wait,
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And so I'm at that waiting state.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it's got to be frustrating.
It is.
Yeah, I get that. So, well, I appreciate you being on the podcast. One last question for you, and you
Yeah,
might be able to answer this, but why
yeah.
do cars matter to you? Obviously, you have made them a subject of many paintings of your entire painting career, but why do they matter to you?
I think they are an extension of a personality. Um, Not only that, I kind of consider myself almost a visual historian of
Mm.
vehicles. It's kind of like if you think about it, when we had the horse and buggy and they were everywhere, and then vehicles came along and then they got sequestered to one area. You can't be out on the road. And so I almost feel that our vintage vehicles are going to be that way.
Mm.
We're all going that way of electric this and that, and public transportation and things like that. And so here in Austin, we have the Waymo taxis, and there's Teslas everywhere and things like that. And so I almost feel that when I capture something on canvas, that it's almost a record of something that might not be here forever. So
Yeah, I totally agree. So I was a little late to this interview because I picked up my unrestored 66 Pontiac GTO and it sold. I actually sold it to
Yay!
a collector who I can't say who, but I'm very happy with where it's going. But as I'm driving that down the highway, I had that same thought, like this is a snapshot in time. This
Mhm.
isn't going to last forever, even with the
No.
best of, like you're going to lose classic cars every day through different reasons, whether it's rust or an accident or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as I'm driving down the highway, is nothing bad happened, but all of a sudden I saw this huge dust cloud in front of me. It looked as if a car was running off the road, losing control, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what's going on here? And thankfully it was not. And I eventually caught up, and of course, I'm in this classic car, and um, it was a truck full of dirt or something, and every time I went over a bump, it just laid out dust. I'm like, oh
Oh.
man, I just got this
Oh.
thing detailed, and I'm driving home right before it
Oh.
sells, and there's dust clouds I'm driving through. So, but to
Yeah.
your point, it is like a snapshot in time that won't be here forever. And I love that you appreciate it from our artistic perspective that you share with others. That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
try to. I try to. It's like those what was it? 80s, 70s? I guess it's 80. But they did the Cash for Junkers where they
Oh
had
yeah,
all the where they got rid of so many vehicles. And now, you'll see movies and that you're like, how did you find that car? Or whatever, because there's a lot of those cars from that era that are gone.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, yeah, and so that's why when I go to events and I see something that's really interesting or a great story or whatever, I want to photograph it and hopefully get it on canvas later on so others can appreciate it because we don't know how long what we're
yeah.
driving
Sure.
now is going to be there. So,
Well, thank you so much for being on the
yeah,
Collector Car podcast. I really appreciate it.
I loved being on it. Thank you so much.